Hello, and good evening, everybody. I'm back again for one more to talk to you guys basically about a video that I just got done watching. YouTube up there at the search thing. Search Fisher of Men. So FISHEROFMEN. Fisher of Men. That's the guy that posted the video. So search up Fisher of Men. Or you can search up USA. So the letters USA. Militia declares war on Illuminati. New World Order 2019. Excuse me, because I'm just getting over a cold. That, and I need to put these cigarettes down. In any case, the guy that posted the original video, the best of my knowledge, the guy that I went and watched his video it's on his channel. It's called Fisher of Men. USA militia declares war on Illuminati. New World Order 2019. So that is the name of the video that I'd like for you guys to check out. Just let me know what you think, your honest opinion about it. I'm telling you, it was a very powerful video. Very powerful. Hey, Camilla. Glad to see you on there. See, I see this time I'm live and I see your comment. So glad to have you here. And I'll be done with this and I'm going to start peeling potatoes in a minute. We're going to have hamburgers and homemade fries tonight. So it's my job to wash the potatoes and peel them and cut them up into nice little French fries. She likes how I do that. So I'm going to do that. And then she'll probably do the hamburgers. I might do them. Anyway, I'm going to get this video done and then we'll get on with my chores, and potatoes and whatnot. But I just had to share it because I watched the video and it was super powerful. So I sent it to maybe 10, 12 people on my Facebook Messenger. I really hope they will watch that, look at it. It is a very powerful video. It's got some very powerful sayings and quotes from our founding fathers, which is what I'm about to get into in a minute and read them. Once we read them and you hear them, I want people to think about what I read to you, what you hear. Remember, one, I didn't say it. I'm repeating it. I didn't say it. Our founding fathers said it. So, as little as we know about our founding fathers, other than what's been recorded in history, all we have is what they said, their words, their quotes, their sayings. I'm about to read a few. When I do, take a moment and really listen to it. Think about it. Try to intellectually comprehend what they're saying and what they meant at that time, as well as the time that we're living in now. I imagine then when they said it, in my opinion, they almost foresaw. So they almost foresaw what this country was going to end up doing, even if it took as long as it did, 50 years, 100 years. But it's like they foresaw the future and they foresaw where our rights and our freedoms were going to end up going. Freedom can be a great thing. It sure can. It can also be a bad thing, I think. Like how a coin has two sides. Every topic, every conversation usually has the same thing, two sides. It can be one way or the other, but a lot of times it's two sides to a topic, to a conversation. So, again, freedom, great thing, absolutely great. I'm not against it at all. I love liberty, I love freedom. That's why I love this country. It can be two sided though. With freedom comes responsibility, right? Not everybody's responsible, so they have freedom and they're not responsible with their freedom. Uh, with freedom comes the ability, I guess, to enslave others because you're a free man. Now you can enslave others with rule, with law, with policy, that kind of thing. Our founding fathers, I don't think they had that in mind for us yet. Us being free, our liberty, has brought us to this. And anyway, please check that out. I'm telling you, I think that you would really like it. You'd enjoy it, no matter your religious belief, no matter your where you stand on politics, whether you're Democrat, Republican, liberal, libertarian, whatever it is. Uh, I think that you would enjoy the video. I think that if you're a true American, whether you was born here, raised here, or just a U.S. citizen, but if you're a true American through and through and kind of enjoy and still believe in the original Constitution and the founding fathers, what they said, I'm going to read a lot of what they said here in a minute. If you're one of those people, then you would definitely enjoy the video, and you would definitely um, I don't know. It will definitely excite you. It will definitely let you know, and you will agree that we are in a time where our freedoms are getting less and less. The Constitution has been perverted and has been changed and written to fit the people that have the authority to do so. It's been made to fit their agenda for them breaking the law, more taxation, more enslaving the American citizens. again, with fake news and everything else that they put out. So in any case, I think that you would really enjoy it. It can be a somewhat cold-hearted video because I'm going to read a part here later that's kind of cold-hearted to people that don't necessarily agree with what you agree or what you believe. And a guy says something, and again, it can be taken as real cold-hearted. He's basically saying, if you're not with us, you're against us, and if you're not with us, well, then you might need to get out this country and go find you another country to live in, because this is what we are about in this country. This is what this country was founded on. The guy that says it again was one of our founding fathers. So don't get mad at me. If you liked the video, if you've liked any of my other videos in the past, please subscribe, hit a thumbs up. If you don't like it, hit a thumbs down, and you ain't got to subscribe, but feel free to leave a comment. Prayer request, if you have a request for someone in prayer that needs prayer, that kind of thing, and I will do my best to make sure that I put that on the next video, the prayer request for whoever we're praying for, or whatnot. I'll respond to your comments and that kind of thing, because I do appreciate anyone that is watching it. I hope it serves you well. I hope that the Lord gets all the glory and honor from these videos. I hope that my followers will grow. I'll get more subscribers, and more than anything, I just hope that it helps someone somewhere else. This is not for me to be seen or pat on the back, glory to Scott, none of that. It's just, I hope that it helps someone else. I hope the information helps someone else. I hope it may drive someone to reconnect or rededicate their life to their Lord and Savior, to Jesus Christ again. People that are already saved, I hope it may drive you to pick up the Bible, pray more, or read more into the scripture, or pay more attention to what's going on in the news, whatever. But I only hope for good things from this video, these videos in my online channel that I have going on. So, Fisher of Men, U.S. militia declares war on Illuminati, New World Order 2019. Please check out the video. I'm telling you, it's informative. It is powerful. Speaking a lot about our founding fathers and what they thought, what they believed. Again, I wasn't there. I never met any of them. I didn't know them personally. But listening to a lot of what they have said, I've written down here. I did some research, a lot of their quotes and what they've said here. It tells you a good bit about the person who said it. And so I'm going to read you some of that, and hopefully you'll enjoy it the way I did. Hopefully it will excite you the way it did me, and motivate us to, start getting active in our daily lives about putting this information out there, and about trying to live the way that they wanted us to live, follow the Constitution the way they wanted it followed, and resist any kind of people that are breaking the Constitution, even if it's our congressmen, our senators, our mayors, or whatever. Later, I'm going to read some stuff, and it tells you it's your right to resist. It is your right to buck up against people that are breaking the law, even if they are the ones writing the Constitution. It is your right. Matter of fact, let's just go into some of these sayings real quick, and they'll say it better than I can say it. So, such a horrible, filthy habit, I know, and I need to stop smoking. But so we're going to get right into it then, to what some of them said, our founding fathers. Again, that page was Fisher of Men. The title of the actual show or episode or whatever, the video I want you to see is U.S. Militia Declares War on Illuminati, New World Order 2019. And forgive me because I do repeat stuff over and over sometimes. If anything, I just would hope that people would get it in case they missed it. So some of that is just the OCD part in me. We'll start at the beginning here. Let's see, for everyone, just so people know, I do apologize. It is 9:37 p.m. Today is Saturday, January 19th. It's 9:37 p.m. So it's evening here where I'm at. I'm in the United States, Western North Carolina, on the Tennessee line, and GMT, I think General Mountain Time, or something like that. So I hope everyone's having a great evening wherever they're at. If it's morning time, I hope you have a great morning. It's a blessing that the Lord woke you up, and I hope you have a great day, a safe day, and a blessed day. So to get to what some of our founding fathers said, this one is good. Democracy is two wolves and a lamb voting on what to have for lunch. I put dinner. So democracy is two wolves and a lamb voting on what to have for lunch. Liberty is a well-armed lamb contesting the vote. I like that. Powerful, right? That was said by Benjamin Franklin. Makes sense too. Today, we can hardly tell the difference between the Republican Party and the Democratic Party, right? They're so similar in ways, and they're both so crooked. So that makes sense here. Democracy is two wolves. They're both wolves. And a lamb somewhere in the middle is somebody like the Lamb of God, a passionate, God-fearing Christian that's just trying to make the world a better place. Democracy is two wolves, and we got the two wolves obviously want to eat the lamb. Liberty is a well-armed lamb. He ain't going for that. Liberty is a well-armed lamb contesting the vote. He's not voting with them two wolves. You're not eating me. So a lot of us citizens, in my mind, that's the way I take it. We are the sheep. We are the lambs, and we vote these people in to do kind of what we want them to do what needs to be done to better our country. And they're wolves, right? They got to be a wolf to get up here in Congress and Wall Street and everything and fight these other wolves. But anyhow, they end up getting up there after we put them in office and powers and places of position, and they forget who the world they put them there. You know what I'm saying? Who put them there and who they're there to serve. So now they just mingle with the rest of the wolves and they start eating on the sheep and the lambs, and that's us, man. So we get left out. Democracy is two wolves and a lamb voting on what to have for lunch. Liberty is a well-armed lamb contesting the vote. That's Benjamin Franklin. Thomas Jefferson, after reading a few of his, I've got more than one. I keep thinking that this guy had to been a really great guy and smart, like super smart. Of course, these guys signed the Declaration of Independence. They helped us with our Constitution as we know it, our freedoms, our rights, and our liberty. So they had to have been somewhat decent guys. Mind you, I didn't live back then. I wasn't around back then. I wasn't with them, so I don't know them personally. All I have is what they said, quoted here, their own sayings and that kind of thing to go by. And yes, I know times were different then, slavery and that kind of thing. So regardless, we're just reading on what they said. Thomas Jefferson says, to compel a man or woman, so me or you, to compel a man or woman to furnish funds for the propagation of ideas he or she disbelieves and abhors, meaning they hate it. They disbelieve it and they hate it. They abhor it, is sinful and tyrannical. God, that was powerful. I love that. I will read it again. That was by Thomas Jefferson. It says to compel a man or woman to furnish, so they have to buy or furnish funds, money, for the propagation. Propaganda is what I get from that. We have all this propaganda going on today. Black Lives Matter and, LGBT community movements and all this different crap is propaganda. To compel a man or woman to furnish funds for the propagation of ideas he or she disbelieves and abhors is sinful and tyrannical. Thomas Jefferson. So not only are they asking you to furnish these things, take money and put it in their banks, and they're going to take your money, your funds, and they're going to propagate these ideas that you may not necessarily be down with. Freemason, Illuminati, Satanism. So they're taking your money and using it to put out this propaganda, propagate, an idea that she may disbelieve. And not just that, it says abhors. That means you actually hate the idea of this. Is sinful. I agree. It seems like a sin and tyrannical. So they want to push ideas on you that may not be your own ideas, beliefs that may not be your own. For those that aren't Christians, a Christian pushing a Christianity on you. For someone that's not a Christian, you pushing your atheist ideas on me. Those kind of things. It's abhorrent. It's a thing you abhor. You hate it, and you don't believe, or you believe in whatever it is that the propaganda thing. But either way, it's a sin to push your way of life on someone else. I ain't gonna say ideas, because we can express ideas, we can share ideas and opinions. You don't have to push them on someone. Because someone's not a Christian, you can't push God on them. You will hope that they receive God. You hope that they'll hear a message from God about the love and the forgiveness and the mercy and all these great things, and you hope that they will get a desire to know and accept Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior, to make him a part of their life. But you can't push it on them. That's force, man. That's wrong. So that's sinful and tyrannical. I like that. That was Thomas Jefferson. This one I wrote a big wow. I mean, once you hear this one, goodness, I'm telling you, these guys were smart. This one here was written by Alexander Fraser, Tytler, Tytler. Alexander Fraser Tytler. I don't even know who that man is. But here he writes, he says, a democracy cannot. It doesn't say it would not, it should not. He says, a democracy cannot exist as a permanent form of government, period. A democracy cannot exist as a permanent form of government, period. It can only exist until the people, that's me or you, discover they can vote themselves. Largesse, I'm not sure how to put that in this sentence, largesse, Largess, largesse, always votes for the candidate promising the most benefits from the public treasury, with the result that democracy always collapses over a loose fiscal policy to be followed by a dictatorship. That was written by Alexander Fraser Tytler. Let me read it in its entirety one more time, see if that makes a little more sense, because I was stopping and breaking things down. So from beginning to end without stopping, it says, a democracy cannot exist as a permanent form of government. It can only exist until the people discover they can vote themselves, largesse, out of the public treasury. From that moment on, the majority always votes for the candidate promising the most benefits from the public treasury, with the result that democracy always collapses over a loose fiscal policy to be followed by a dictatorship. Alexander Fraser Tytler. That makes very much sense today. We know since the Federal Reserve came into existence, the American people have been enslaved to them. They have took our money, they've inflated it, they deflated it. You know what I'm saying? So it's not even worth what it's supposed to be anymore. It's trash. The American dollar is a piece of wood and paper. It means nothing. It has no currency, no value today. We know that it's trash. That's why we're in so much debt. But anyway, a democracy cannot exist as a permanent form of government, is what he's saying. It can only exist until the people, me, you, the people, the citizens of that country, of the United States, discover that we can vote ourselves, largesse, out of the public treasury. That's what we need to do now as a people. We need to somehow get rid of the federal FDR, the federal treasury, the, you know what I'm saying, the public treasury. We need to somehow vote and get rid of that crap like Kennedy was trying to do. You know, we need to know that we can't vote ourselves out. It's just going to take a lot of people and everybody to pull together on that. From that moment on, it says the majority always votes for the candidate promising the most benefits from the public treasury. We find that to be true, right? Presidents accumulate all this money. They take all your money, promising you this, that, and the other. When I get to be president, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna make your vote heard, and I'm gonna change this for the lower class, and we're gonna lower taxes and raise taxes on the people making more money. All these different promises, and their money and all this money getting shoveled into the making the president comes from where? Me, you, different citizens of the United States. But largely comes from the Department of Treasury too, the Federal Reserve, that kind of thing. They fund these presidents, and once these presidents become president, they're owed. You know what I'm saying? They owe the federal treasury. They owe, you know what I'm saying, the Federal Reserve, because they're the ones that made you president. So now all that promising us, me, you, the citizens of the United States, what they will do, they can't do. They could never fulfill the promise to begin with, because once you took the money, you became president. You're enslaved to the people that put you in power. So you can't do what you promised to do. You can't do what's best for us. You're enslaved to the same thing that Alexander Fraser Tytler was talking about, the Federal Reserve. You're enslaved to them. So how are you working for us? So now, you know, the Rothschilds and the Bilderbergs and all these people that own these banks and these treasuries, that own the financial market, the Federal Reserve, you are a slave to them, and you do what they say, pushing in this new world order. So you're no longer working for us. Our vote and our opinion, what's best for us, does not matter, is what has been shown by these congressmen, mayors, senators. They're all slaves, they're all pawns, and they get up there and forget their job. They're the wolves. They're the ones that have bought into the federal treasury, that have took their money, and now they don't work for us. You know, they can't do what we need them to do. You know what I'm saying? So our vote does matter, but on the other hand, it really don't matter. Our vote don't matter to them, because no matter what, they're going to take our vote and our money, and they're going to do what they want to do. Their self-interest. They're not studying the Constitution. They're not studying paying rent or living off of food stamps or finding a job. You know, they've got these wonderful salaries and whatnot. So people, we need to wake up as American citizens and really see what is going on, who we elect, and how it is played, how that game is played. Even electing them, they're not going to go do what we ask them to do unless you truly know them. They truly have some moral compass, that they are Christian. You know, it's not going to happen. We need to come to that realization. Moving on. Like this one by John Marshall. I told you earlier on another video, I like simple and compact things, real simple things. This one's not long, it's simple. It says, the power to tax is the power to destroy. Is that not a powerful statement? We're sitting here talking about the Federal Reserve. We're talking about these other people that ran our country for the last 30, 40 years in the ground, that kind of thing. And guess what? The Federal Reserve is a major part. You know, our currency, inflating deep middle class and raising taxes on the rich, and it never happens. So again, simple and short, to the point, very, The power to tax is the power to destroy. And what are they doing? They are destroying this nation wholeheartedly. So there we see that there's proof in that right there, proof in the pudding, so to speak. 4 minutes 23 seconds into the video that I asked you to watch by the guy Fisher of Men I was telling you about. U.S. militia declares war on Illuminati, New World Order 2019. 4 minutes 23 seconds into that, there's another wise saying. Read it, look at it, try to understand and comprehend this. Again, by Thomas Jefferson. I'm telling you, I'm starting to really love that guy. I'm gonna have to get a book and read his biography or something, read about him, find out more about him. I know he was one of our founding fathers. 4 minutes 23 seconds into the video, he says, and I quote again, if the American people ever, I'm slowly breaking this one down, then we'll read it in its entirety again. If the American people ever, we already have, if the American people ever allow private banks to control the issue of their money, my money, your money, first by inflation, they inflate the money, then by deflation, the banks and corporations that will grow up around them, and we're talking about around the banks and around the banks, will deprive the people, me or you, the citizens of the United States, they will deprive the people of their property until their children will wake up homeless on the continent their fathers conquered. That was said by Thomas Jefferson. Again, I didn't say it. I'm rereading what this man wrote, what I seen in the video, what he's quoted as saying. And so again, I'm going to do my research later into his actual autobiography, that kind of thing. But from the video, he quoted it. They have him saying it. That's Thomas Jefferson, one of our founding fathers. This time I'll read it in its entirety, then we'll go back and break down a little more. But what he says is absolutely prevalent and going on today. It's like them guys could see where the future of America was going. It's like they could see way back then, right now, what was going to happen with certain presidents, what was going to end up happening with liberty, with freedom. And it all came true. That's what's crazier. So call it what you want, because we know a lot of those guys were Freemasons too, even though they talk about God and that kind of thing. And we know the Freemasons, and that there's a satanic presence or whatever involved there with them. But again, so I'll read this from its entirety without breaking it down. If the American allow private bank issue of by deflation, the banks that will grow up around them, and it says around the banks, will deprive the people of their property until their children will wake up homeless on the continent their fathers conquered. That's Thomas Jefferson. So to break it down again one more time, if the American people ever allow, we already have, right, private banks to control the issue of our money, they issue us our money, right? When we file our taxes, they tax us to death, and then they issue whatever they want us to have left. When you get your paycheck, you've worked all week long for a certain amount of money you expect to get, right? Do you get that money? No, you don't. You get what they give you. Because what? They're taxing you. So now we got to take our money first. They tax you. They take your little bit of money, you know what I'm saying? And we'll give you what's left so that you can spend it and still be taxed on everything that you buy. More taxes. Goodness gracious. What was the quote we read before? The power to tax is the power to destroy. That's what John Marshall said, right? Well, they're destroying us with these taxes now. They're destroying your livelihood, your children's Christmas, their education, everything else. Now, we'll read it again. If the American people ever allow private banks to control the issue of their money, they're issuing out our money, first by inflating our money. You know what I'm saying? So we're saying it's worth more than it is. Then by deflation, now the money ain't even worth what it was. Not even when we started. The money that you originally had, it wasn't worth that. So then by deflation, the banks and corporations that will grow up around them, around the banks, will deprive, that's what they're doing, right? They're depriving me, you, other people ain't even got their taxes, from last year. They filed their taxes, never got them back. They'll deprive the people of their property. So not just money, they'll take your property. Now your property doesn't belong to you either, right? Cars, your property, if you own apartment buildings or houses all across the U.S., that kind of thing, it doesn't really belong to you, does it? You're paying taxes on home property, you know what I'm saying? Home property taxes and land property taxes, and the government can come actually, and we've seen it live on the news and happening every day, the government can actually come take your land, can come take your cars, take your guns, and they say it's because we need it, because we're in debt. You have this wealth, so we need it to keep this country running, to fund our military, to pocket, put in the pockets of all these rich senators and congressmen, and they're allowed to do that. By law, they're allowed to take your property. Pray to God I'm not. I told you I don't do anything but spit the truth here on this channel. That's what we're about, truth and facts. So we know that that happens, that the government is taking people's guns, they're taking their property, they're taking their money. If you don't pay your taxes, the IRS is involved immediately, that kind of thing, right? Yeah. So they are depriving the people of their property until, that's what it says, until what? So now it may not happen in one lifetime, it happens in the next one with your children, your grandchildren, it goes on and on. So until, it says they will deprive the people of their property until their children, even sometimes their grandchildren, will wake up homeless on the continent their fathers conquered. The last sentence is a jacked up one because, first of all, it's jacked up that we ever came and conquered this country the way we did. That's a sad thing. Rape, pillage, killed off an entire species of people, a whole nationality of people, Native Americans. Horrible thing. But we can't dwell on that right now. We have to look at what we're dealing with right now in the present. So it's a horrible thing that happened. They came here, conquered, and all that. Nevertheless, they made it home. They set down a constitution and some laws, and we built a country on this place that we raped and pillaged and conquered. Anyhow, now the people that did that set down these rules and these constitutions, we made it home, made it our own country. What are we doing? Well, we're waking up homeless in our own country. Now, come on now. Facts, right? All across America, we got these people that are homeless all over. City of Chicago, LA, Asheville, North Carolina. We've got rich people living around, ball players, NFL players, movie stars, Hollywood stars, making 10 times in a month or two, 10 times in a year or two what some people make and will ever make in their lifetime. You know what I'm saying? And yet we have problems with homelessness. How? We're American born, raised citizens here. How are we homeless? I mean, there's plenty of buildings and apartment buildings and places to put these people. But are we doing that? No, we're not. We're taking from them. And the people that are losing their homes, their houses, and all their finances and everything else, what happens? They get put out on the street. And if you watch the news, again, I'm not lying. I'm looking at it on Chicago and on YouTube and everywhere else. Now, they're the worst of the worst. They're scums. They're hated more than roaches and bed bugs, that kind of thing. Like, it's getting to a point where homelessness is being criminal. You're a criminal for being homeless because the government helped you get there too, being homeless. And so what did I see on the videos in Chicago? They're taking these guys and running up on them like they're terrorists, putting them in vans, unmarked vans, homeless people, for real, brutally. I mean, forcing them into vans, beating them, and taking them miles from the city, seen it on the video, and then kicking them out. And negative 10 and 20 degree weather, far enough away from the city where the people who are such good people, who have the money and nice places to live in homes and own companies and stuff, ain't got to see you standing out in front of their shop asking for money, just trying to live, trying to get a meal, trying to get a warm cup of coffee. Never mind the ones that's trying to do drugs and alcohol. But we're talking people that are just actually trying to find a job and better their life. They shoo you away from the country, away from the city. We don't want you nowhere around here. They take you way out in the middle and drop you off because you're a bum, because you're a criminal to society. You're a drag on this American country and on your fellow citizens. I didn't say it, and I don't believe it, but I'm telling you, that's how they're treating the homeless. You know, there's a problem with that. That's criminal how they're doing the homeless, and yet they're making us out to be criminals. I've been homeless, so I know what it's like to sleep on a park bench, on the ground, with nothing but the clothes on your back and to be hungry. So I just think it's a shame, it's a tragedy what's going on. And there, Thomas Jefferson spoke about it way back then, before we actually really had issues with homelessness. He was saying one day, your own people in your own country are going to wake up, and that's what's going to happen. Your country's going to be done betrayed you. They're going to take your money, they're going to take your private property, and they will have you homeless. And if not you, then it's going to happen to your children and grandchildren. And it's happening right now. That's facts. So, moving on to the next one. I wasn't alive when John F. Kennedy was president. I wasn't alive when he was assassinated. I wasn't alive when Robert Kennedy was, U.S. Attorney General. None of that. But I do think, in my honest opinion, that he probably is the best president we ever had. If he would have lived and his grandchildren, that kind of thing, would have continued their reign, you know, like the Bushes did, and would have been president and vice presidents or whatever after him, our country wouldn't be in the situation that we're in now. So God bless that man. Back to the other videos I've made, I do believe John F. Kennedy Jr. is alive. I also believe that's why the government is going the way it's going, why Trump is able to do what he's doing, why these military tribunals are about to happen, and people are about to be punished for their crimes. I don't care if you were president of the United States. You can be tried and executed too. They committed crimes all over. If we're listening to these quotes and sayings from our founding fathers, they've been breaking the law. They've been rewriting the Constitution, breaking the law, committing war crimes and treason against their own people, me, you, and the citizens here of the United States of America. So if we can lock up people that are child pedophiles and drug traffickers and people selling weed, which I don't even think there's nothing wrong with that, lock them up just for trying to provide for their families, then I dang sure think that it should be legal and right and justified to lock up our senators, our Congress, and that was to protect this country. You know what I'm saying? From enemies, foreign and domestic. So enemies here in this country and outside, and they are our worst enemies. So yes, I think they should be tried, executed, or spend the rest of their life in prison too. That's fair. Fair is fair. Now, here John F. Kennedy tried to save us from the Federal Reserve. That's what I watched in that video. So again, I want you guys to look at that video for yourself. Do your own research. Fisher of Men, U.S. militia declares war on Illuminati, New World Order 2019. That's the video to watch. And there and on there it says John F. Kennedy tried to save us from the Federal Reserve. He actually even signed a presidential executive order numbered and dated 1111, 4 ones and a 0, and was assassinated for it, among other things. That's what it says in the video. I absolutely believe it. He was unlike any other president, just like Trump, unlike any other president that we ever had or seen before him, or that will ever come after him. He tried to save this country from the Federal Reserve. He got assassinated for it. His brother was trying to take down the Italian mafia. They got assassinated for that. John F. Kennedy was too friendly with blacks, was trying to end the segregation thing and promote equality and fairness amongst us all, right? Again, just another reason why they assassinated him. This guy, you can understand why they would have assassinated him, because he was truly a God-fearing man. He was truly a Christian. He was truly a man that was with the principles of our founding fathers and was going to try and bring this country back to that greatness, to that sound mind, that principality. And guess what? The snakes and demons around him was not going to let that happen. They were not going to allow that. They were not going to tolerate that. And what snakes are we talking about? We're talking about George Herbert Walker Bush, or George Bush Jr., his daddy. We're talking about he wasn't going to allow it. The Federal Reserve at that time wasn't going to allow it. The Rothschilds weren't going to allow it. The Bilderbergs weren't going to allow it. You can dang sure believe Rockefeller wasn't going to allow it. These are men that are still alive today that know good and well what happened to John F. Kennedy, that all planned it out, Roosevelt. They planned the assassination of John F. Kennedy, successfully did it, and then put in their own stupid people to run this country into the ground, which they've done up until now, up to the point of Trump. So thank God we now finally have a president who's not with that crap, who is against the system. You can call me what you want, but he is not a politician, never was until he came into office. He was never one of those people back in the Federal Reserve. He may have got rich off of it, but he sure wasn't a part of making it happen. He sure wasn't a part of taking the American tax dollars money and just wasting it, on private first class trips all across the world, knowing you're a senator or congressman, you're living better than the American citizen, even eating these extravagant meals, going on these extravagant vacations. Can't nobody say he was ever a part of that. Again, he wasn't in politics. He wasn't that. So thank God we have a president that we have today, one that's against that too. That's against this Federal Reserve thing. That's against the New World Order and the Illuminati and the Rothschilds. Even if he's playing both sides, he is definitely doing more, and he's more against it than any other president we've ever had, other than John F. Kennedy. So thank God. I give God the glory and praise for that. All right, here's another one. When injustice becomes law. You hear me clearly on that one? When injustice becomes law, resistance becomes duty. So each and every American citizen, Thomas Jefferson is telling you, you're going to have to try and keep that quiet while I'm doing the video. It won't take much longer. When injustice becomes law, resistance becomes duty. Thomas Jefferson is telling you, each and every person, me, you, and every American citizen, it's your duty now. Because of the times we're living in, it's your duty to resist the government, to resist the law. I didn't say go out and break the law and shoot congressmen and senators or break in their homes and tie them up and tell them how wrong of a job they're doing, but publicly, like the videos we're doing now on YouTube and that kind of thing, it is our duty to let them know we ain't pleased with how they're running this country and that we know that they're breaking the law. It's our duty to resist them. It's our duty to protest and get out and voice our opinion and let them know, hey, we're not going to stand for this. As a country, we're going to raise up against this. You're not cutting off our food stamps. You're not taking the welfare from the people who need it the most. Disabled women and men at home that can't even take care of themselves, get up and use the bathroom. You're not taking their hard-earned disability they worked their life for. That is our duty to resist. That's what Thomas Jefferson says. When injustice, because we are facing a lot of injustice in America today, over and over, it's in your face. And yet we supposed to swallow it? Last 5-6 years, how many times have we seen law officers, police officers that were given their job? You know what I'm saying? We put them in places of position of power, shooting unarmed children and unarmed people, killing them. We've been watching it now last 3-4 years on the news. It's happening all the time. People getting pulled over for a regular traffic stop, getting gunned down by the police for reaching for cigarettes. sandwich in their hand, getting gun. How many times do we have to see it to start saying, look, man, this is the truth. This is what we're dealing with. We have to buck this. So when injustice becomes law, because it definitely became law, all these congressmen, senators, and all that, they're breaking the law left and right, but they're making it legal. That's their right. So when injustice becomes law, resistance becomes duty. That's our duty, is to resist them. Thomas Jefferson also says resistance to tyrants. This is powerful here, depending on your religious belief. I do consider myself to be a Christian and a child of God. Resistance to tyrants is obedience to God. I did not say it. Remember that. Remember that. All these things I'm sitting here telling you right now, I'm reading off other people's quotes that I've seen on this video. I didn't say it. I don't know Thomas Jefferson in person or personally, but I honestly can hear that man saying it. Sounds to me like something he would say. Compared to the other quote he just said, don't it sound like what something he'd say? When injustice becomes law, resistance becomes duty. He's trying to help you. He's trying to let you know what your rights are. So it doesn't sound like a crook that's trying to enslave you. So that makes sense to me. And then the next one says resistance to tyrants is obedience to God. Thomas Jefferson. Sounds like something a smart man would say, a Christian man. Moving on. Let's see. We got George Washington over here on the next page. It says to the distinguished character of patriot. So all our patriots out there. It says to the distinguished character. So your character, if you're a patriot, military, even if you're not a patriot, to the distinguished character of patriot, it should be our highest glory to laud the more distinguished character of Christian. That's George Washington. Wow. Wasn't he our first president of the United States? I understand he was a Freemason. Thank you.
My bad. Sorry.
I've said I'm doing something, but thank you. We'll get it done in the name of God. So, Freemason and all, first president of the United States. I mean, I don't get how the Freemason and you being a Christian goes hand in hand. That does not matter. That's not for me to judge. Am I God? No, I'm not. So, first president of the United States, a patriot, true patriot, also a Freemason, George Washington. That's his saying, word for word. That's what it's quoted. It says, to the distinguished character of patriot that he was, it should be our highest glory. So it was his highest glory, not being a patriot, any of that. His highest glory was to laud the more distinguished character of Christian. So he was a Christian then through and through, even if he was a Freemason. I didn't say it. He said it. That's his quote. And what is not more distinguishable in your character? You know what I'm saying? Patriot or Christian. I would think Christian, because Christian, we're using and putting God first. You know what I'm saying? So that is a higher distinguishable character inside yourself. And he lauds that, L-A-U-D. He is promoting that. And from my understanding, that obviously is something he loved. To the distinguished character of patriot, which he was, it should be our highest glory to laud the more distinguished character of Christian. And in my personal opinion, the highest glory we can have is kind of that, similar to what he's saying, is to be a Christian. And then because that helps you live your life better each and every day if you are authentic to your Christianity, to the teachings and preachings in the life of Jesus Christ. So that's the higher glory. The patriot part, yeah, I mean, that's a distinguishable character in a person, to be a patriot, no doubt. I would love to have that second, but the highest glory would be what? To be an honest, God-fearing, God-loving Christian, try and live your life the best as possible. So anyway, that's George Washington. To the distinguished character of patriot, it should be our highest glory to laud the more distinguished character of Christian. All right. It is impossible to rightly govern the world without God and the Bible. Man, I'm telling you, I told you, I was loving Thomas Jefferson more and more the more I read what he says. That's him. That's his quote. That's what he said. He said it is impossible. He didn't say it's nearly impossible. He didn't say it's hard. He didn't say it's unlikely. He said it is impossible to rightly, not wrongfully, rightfully, to rightfully or to rule something in the right way. It is impossible to rightly govern the world, not just the United States of America. It is impossible to rightly govern the world without God and the Bible. That's Thomas Jefferson. All right, here he goes again. The tree of liberty, I love this one. I've heard it many times before today. The tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants. Thomas Jefferson. Now, it's sad that we would have to spill blood in order to stay free and have our liberty and our freedoms. It's bad that we would have to spill blood of patriots, people that are good Christian men, in order to have liberty. But we know that it happens all the time. And I believe we're facing a time now more than ever where people are going to die for the name of Jesus Christ. Christians are going to be marked as terrorists, which I'll read here in a little bit. Someone else said they're going to be marked and labeled as terrorists and hunted down for real. We know the people who are making videos and speaking out like I am now, which But there are other people who are doing way more that are threats. But I believe we're living in a time right now that more than ever, patriots are going to die for their Christianity. Christians are going to die. You're going to die for knowing God, for accepting and choosing Him, for living a life that's pleasing in the eyes of the Lord, for speaking about Him. People are going to die trying to keep freedom and liberty alive for other people, for our children, for our grandchildren, for our mothers, brothers, sisters. So again, the tree of liberty must, and it doesn't say it should be, it doesn't say it will be, it doesn't say it can be, it says it must. It's a must, it's a requirement. So we know that's a requirement for liberty. For us to have our freedoms, we know that. Soldiers give selflessly every day, they sacrifice every day, and I hold them in the highest regard, no matter what their sexual belief orientation or religious status is. I'm telling you, I love our men and women in the military, those who serve, or in these different agencies of law enforcement that are Christians that are living and just doing their job the best that they can. I have nothing but the highest respect for them. I mean, I mean that. I think it's disgusting how our country has done our veterans. All the way back to our World War II veterans, Pearl Harbor, survivors of the Holocaust, those few that are left, every veteran that served in every major battle or event. I think it's disgusting how this country has treated them, how they get done here in America, getting spit on, have to fight and wait forever for these checks to come, their disability checks or their pension checks or even their educational checks, their bonuses. You know what I'm saying? You want them to go out there and fight and die, lose limbs, sacrifice time with their families and everything else. And for what? For a lack of respect, a lack of appreciation and gratitude. I'm telling you, it's a lot of Americans in this country that should not be allowed to even be citizens of this country in America. I promise you, if it was up to me, they wouldn't be. For the lack of respect for the men and women that fight out there daily, our children, our men and women that fight out there daily, serving our country to be a better place and to serve other countries and make sure they have their freedoms and rights. It's disgusting. So I'll move on because I get real heated about that one. The tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants. That's Thomas Jefferson. Oh, Honest Abe. I got one from Honest Abraham Lincoln here too. I got one from a little bit of everybody. I wasn't really an Abraham Lincoln fan myself. I remember I got kicked out of class one day for saying something about Abraham Lincoln, and it was truthful, but the teacher didn't like that, which we find out today most people don't like the truth. They'd rather believe what they want to believe. They want to believe their own personal opinions and racism and that kind of thing, bigotry over the truth. What got me kicked out of class, if you must know, was because I was telling my teacher Abraham Lincoln didn't free the slaves. She didn't like that at all. Told me I needed to research history, and I was wrong. You know, saying the man was pretty much the foremost, founder and promoter of equal rights and, freeing slaves. And, well, anyway, yeah, it got me kicked out of class because search the truth, what I'm saying, on that one. The man owned his own slaves, so he wasn't exactly, a Martin Luther King Jr. He didn't really care too much about freeing the slaves. He just was trying to save face and keep this country from going to what ended up happening anyway, revolutionary in the Civil War over slavery, the North and South. So regardless, but we'll just get to his saying here, his little quote. It says, "We the people," so me, you, "we the people are the rightful masters of both Congress and the courts, not to overthrow the Constitution, but to overthrow the men or women who pervert the Constitution." God, is that not powerful too? So somewhat he was either way on a right way of thinking with that one, right? I'll read it again. It says, "We the people," me, you, "we the people, the citizens of the United States, we are the rightful masters of both Congress and the courts." So basically, Congress is ours. It belongs to us. Even though I'm not a congressman, I'm a congressman, basically. Congress belongs to me and you because we put those guys in power in their place of position to do what? To serve this country, to serve me and you in their best ability. In our interests, not their personal interests. So we, the people, me, you, are the rightful masters of both Congress and the courts, not to overthrow the Constitution. So we're not there to overthrow the Constitution, break it, and write it the way we want to. Not to overthrow the Constitution, but to overthrow the men, women who pervert the Constitution. So we're talking about the same guys that we put in office to do this, that, and the other, and live and speak for us and help our country be great. It is our duty to overthrow them when they pervert the Constitution, like Obama and all these other people that have written laws to help them keep breaking the law and profit more money. George Bush Jr., his father, George Bush, these wars of mass destruction that we never found weapons of mass destruction. We found evidence, but we didn't find the actual weapons of mass destruction. The Twin Towers, the planes flying in, that kind of propaganda, which we know it wasn't no planes flew into those buildings. Now we knew that they demolished those buildings and they set it up so that they could keep on with their future war on terror, that kind of thing. It's our job, it's our duty to overthrow those. As a Christian, I don't believe I have the right to say who should live or die. I do believe certain certain laws and certain crimes that you commit are worthy of the death punishment. So, but again, I'm not God. I can't judge. I can't issue life or death. I don't think no man should. So that's that two sides to the coin kind of thing. On one hand, I don't believe we should be able to put anybody to death. It's not in our right to judge who lives or dies. On the other hand, I mean, you commit crimes bad enough where you've got hundreds of thousands of millions of kids and women and children dead over your greedy, sinful, satanic inside nature. Yeah, you may deserve to be put to death. And so on that event, that case, that side of the coin, I hope they do. I hope they get Obama and Bush Jr. Hope they get every last one of them. So, we the people are the rightful masters of both Congress and the courts, not to overthrow the Constitution, but to overthrow the men, women who pervert the Constitution. That's old Honest Abe. I don't know how honest he was, but I like that one. All right, next one. The spirit of resistance to government. This is awesome. The spirit of resistance to government is so valuable on certain occasions that I wish it always to be kept alive. It will often be exercised when wrong, yet better so than not to be exercised at all. I like a little rebellion now and then. Good God, can you guess who said that one? Now, I said, hey, the more I read his stuff, the more I end up loving this man. Thomas Jefferson. Again, that's what he said. He didn't say, man, let's just go out and cause a little chaos and rebel all the damn time. No, but he said a little rebellion is a good thing. What's he say here? We'll break this one down. The spirit of resistance. The spirit of it. So not actually resistance itself. It's the spirit behind it. What gets the resistance started? What did they push you so hard to where now you have to resist? You know what I'm saying? Oppression and slavery and that kind of thing. That should be resisted. The spirit of resistance to government is so valuable. So we know that it's valuable on certain occasions. That's what he's saying, on these certain occasions. That I wish that it always be kept alive. And thank God it is. And it should be. It says it will often be exercised when wrong. So he's admitting that sometimes people are going to resist the law when it's wrong. You know, you're selling drugs and you're about to go to jail for it. The police come to pick you up and they resist an arrest because they just don't want to go to jail, don't want to go to prison, man. We just want to stay free. You know what I'm saying? Make money, sell drugs. Okay, that's a wrong example there. But that's what he says. It will often be exercised when wrong. Yet, he says it's better for it to be exercised in the wrong or exercised, period. You know what I'm saying? Yet better so then not to be exercised at all. So he's saying it's better to have exercised it than to never exercise resistance to the government at all. If you never resist the government whatsoever, we all sheep, we all just slaves to get mowed over. So then not to be exercised at all. He says, I like a little rebellion now and then. That really kicked it off with me. You know, we're all sinners and fall short of the glory of God. Rebellion is kind of a natural thing that goes with sin, right? It's in our nature to rebel against authority, against, again, Lucifer was kicked out of heaven for what? Rebellion. So it's in all of our nature. I like that though. A little rebellion is, he likes a little rebellion now and then. And in our time and case, in our time we're living in right now, I think a little is not the word. We need a lot of rebellion. We need people to rebel against these taxes. We need people to rebel against them thinking that they're going to take your SSI and your disability. We need people to rebel against racism and bigotry and the Illuminati and the New World Order for real. We need to rebel against that crap. Rebel against population control. Rebel against abortion. I'm not sure how you feel about that one, but for me, I'm absolutely almost 98% kind of, I'm against it completely. Rebel against the death penalty. We need to rebel. We should have rebelled against them taking the Ten Commandments out of the courthouse and telling children they can't pray in elementary and middle schools. Rebel. So rebellion is a good thing. It can be a good thing at times. Even the people of Israel rebelled against Pharaoh in Egypt, didn't they? So, again, rebellion's a good thing. Thomas Jefferson. Here goes Thomas Paine. It is duty. I love when they call out duty. They talk about duty. Because we all have duties as citizens. Again, liberty comes with a price, man. Nothing comes free. We know that. It is duty of the patriot to defend, and I put / protect his country from its government. Now, I quote him saying that, Thomas Paine, and I don't think the protect part was in there. It was just defend. But Thomas Paine says, it is duty of the patriot to defend his country from its government. Now, the problem I have with this, not with anything he said there, I love that. I think that should be taken wholeheartedly, and I believe it 100%. We should follow through on that. It is the duty of the patriot to defend his country from its government, and I added protect. I say that because I think that here soon, a lot of the men and women in service in the military, these patriots, are going to forget their duty, that duty, and they'll serve the one master, women and children, and enslave them and put them in concentration camps or whatever the government tells them to do without ever even or raising up against the government. And that is not their job. We, the American people, I know you signed up to be in the military. So a lot of them voluntarily did it. Nobody gets drafted anymore. So they signed up to join the military. They signed contracts to be there for so long. They signed this, that, and the other to where, yes, they basically enslaved themselves to this country and this government to follow orders to do as they're told. But remember that you are always a free individual in this country. That is what the Constitution was based on. Even if you're a soldier, even if you're a captain, a colonel, a general in the army, you're still a man or a child of God or woman of God. You're still an individual with self-individual rights in this country. And it is your right to defend the Constitution. It's your right as a patriot because you have a higher character. We hold you to a higher standard, right, than the average citizen. It's your right and your duty as a patriot to defend us. Not your country, but we're talking about your countrymen, the regular citizens, men, women, and children of this country. It's your duty, not just to be a freaking patriot, but to go against the orders of whoever's ordering you to do whatever if it comes to that. It's your duty to protect your countrymen, your citizens, from the government. Because the government is going to try to use you to come in and enslave us. And remember, at one time, you were and are still one of us. You have a mom, a dad, brothers, sisters, and children out here in houses and homes that's going to go through the same thing that the rest of us are going to go through if we're not in the military. We're going to be persecuted, enslaved, and put in these camps and, have to beg for food and a way to live. And you, the soldier, are gonna what? You're gonna do that to your own mom, your dad, your brother, your sister? Come on, man. It is your duty as a patriot to defend, and I added protect, your country. So the people in your country, the citizens, from the government, the ones that would overthrow us, the citizens. It is your job to protect us from that. I'm waiting to see how many soldiers are actually gonna do that. I'll just throw in this little bit of information too. My cousin, I won't call out no names, was in the military, served 3 years. And I remember at one point in time, me and him had a conversation about that. And there was papers that they were actually asking these guys to sign stating that if it came down to it, as a soldier, would you be willing, would you be able to incarcerate, confiscate, imprison your own family members? And my hand on this holy chronological life study Bible here, I promise you, me and my cousin, when he was in the army, I promise, we had that conversation. I've seen the paperwork. They asked him to sign that. Would he be willing to? Are you that type of man? Would you be willing to lock up your own mama, your own daddy, confiscate their weapons, imprison them by orders of the United States? So just by following orders, would you be willing to do that? Me personally, I can say now, if I was in the military, would I have signed the paper? I probably would have had. Would I have been telling a lie? I sure would have been. Because if you think that I was going to go home and arrest my mom and dad for you just because you said so, because you thought that someone in my family was a threat to national security or a threat to the Constitution, knowing that they're not, you're saying that just because they're not going along with your agenda, your propaganda. Would I have been willing to do that? No, I wouldn't have had. I'd have signed that paper, but you must be out your mind. You think I'm going to go and arrest my little brother, my little sister, because what? Because they're Christians and you don't like Christians, people who believe in God, because they're standing up and defending the Constitution and their rights for liberty, standing up to their congressmen and people who are breaking the law. You think I was going to arrest them? No. So thank God I'm not in the military. But so that is my question. That's my concern now. How many of the actual military men have a brain and can think for themselves, that are not enslaved pawns to the devil, and that would actually stand up against their own soldiers, stand up against their own country and defend us, the citizens of the United States? How many of them would do that, have that character, that patriotism in them? How many of them would abandon their so-called duty as a soldier and stand up for this country? Because that's what Thomas Paine says. It's the duty of the patriot to defend his country from its government. That was written by Thomas Paine. Edward Abbey says, a patriot must always, not should be, could be, sometimes you should, or sometimes you're going to be asked to. He said a patriot must be always, not sometimes, always ready to defend his country against his government. So very similar to what Thomas Paine said, just a small change in wording. A patriot must be always ready to defend his country against his government. I like that, and we're going to need men like that. This video is getting kind of long, so I'm going to try and read on through some other ones real quick, or at least just the ones that stood out the most to me. New World Order 2019. I'm going to go ahead and read his real quick just because it stood out with me. This is where it gets somewhat offensive. Some people are just going to be like, well, okay, well, like that as citizens because I'm still a citizen of the United States. But in any case, I'm gonna read you what he wrote, and I really stand by what he says too. I know some people are gonna take some offense by that. I said earlier, some people don't even necessarily have the right, or they have the right, but they shouldn't be citizens of the United States. They shouldn't have the right to be citizens of the United States, depending on where you think, how you feel, and where you lie on certain things, especially certain things that I've been talking about on this particular video. And anyhow, Fisher of Men. His name is Bryce Queller. I think I'm saying that right. Cuellar. Queller. Bryce Queller. His page is Fisher of Men. He says, if the founding fathers, if the founding fathers were still alive, they would be considered terrorists by this traitor government. If you disagree with what you've read so far, and I put or heard because I'm doing a lot of speaking, so you're hearing things. If you disagree with what you've read so far or heard, then you are a traitor to America. You are a useless citizen, good for nothing. Leave my country and stop trying to take my freedom. I put amen and amen on that one because I'm very much in agreement with that. It's a very harsh thing to say. What they say sometimes the truth hurts, but in the same breath, man, look what they say: if you're not with us, you're against us. I'll read it again. If the founding fathers were still alive, they would be considered terrorists by this traitor government. I believe that. The presidents today, the congressmen today, senators, politicians we have in office today, and even for the last 20 years, if our founding fathers were still alive and saying the things that I've read to you that they've said, they would be considered traitors. They would get hung. They would get shot to death or burned at the stake kind of thing. They would not be liked, loved, tolerated, or accepted in this time and age. And to think that they founded the Constitution and how far we've came, how far we've fallen, trying to erase everything that they laid foundation to. You know what I'm saying? Trying to erase everything good and all the qualities that they tried to instill that made this nation and this country great. It is a shame. So I'll read it one more time. If the founding fathers were still alive, they would be considered terrorists by this traitor government. If you disagree with what you've read so far or heard, then you are a traitor to America. You are a useless citizen, good for nothing. Leave my country and stop trying to take my freedom. Amen. Now, I wouldn't go so far as to say you're good for nothing, but I would say that you're good for something else. You're not good for this country, and you're not good for the freedoms and the liberties of the people in this country. So I agree wholly on that. You're a traitor too. All these people talking so much Trump about, talking so much junk about Trump and towards Trump. Let me tell you something. You ain't got to like your president in order to serve your president. You ain't got to always like your leader in order to follow the leader. Sometimes you got to humble yourself and just do what you're told to do. In any case, back in the day when George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and all them other guys were serving their country, and when we had other presidents and stuff like that, I'm gonna tell you something. If people today were talking the junk about and towards Trump that they are talking to him and about him, if they said that back then to George Washington or a few of these other people, let me tell you something, you'd have been dead the same day or the next day. It'd have been real soon though. Within a 2 or 3 day period, you can best believe you'd have been hunted down. They would have rode you down on horse, found you, may have found your wife and your kids, your children. And I'm telling you something, it wouldn't have been good. They would have strung you up, hung you from a tree. So it wasn't just black people getting hung. They'd have strung your white ass up too. Know that. It don't matter what race you were, but they'd have strung you up, they'd have hung you. Or they'd have put you in front of a firing squad and they'd have killed you. That's what I mean when I say so many people today shouldn't be allowed in this country, shouldn't be allowed to be calling themselves American citizens, because what they're doing is treason. And what you're doing is causing chaos and causing rioting and all kind of dysfunctional, law-breaking shit to go on in this country. So you ain't got to like Trump. But let me tell you something. He is your president. He is your commander-in-chief, man. And watch what you say about him, because that's treason. I wish he had me a special badge where I could go around and arrest some of these people saying some of the stuff they were saying for real. Let them know how serious this country is about certain things for real. Hell, I wouldn't even mind execute a few of them, man. You can make me judge, jury, and executioner. I know that goes against everything I've said about the Bible, reading, and Christianity, but I'm telling you, today we're on a real tightrope, a real tight wire when it comes to, being against somebody, being with somebody, or against somebody. And I'm gonna tell you something, the people that swear they're doing so much good for this country are killing it, man. They're killing us. They're starving us to death, man. They're taking away our freedoms and our rights, and they got the nerve to say stuff about Trump, man. So, quit causing discord, you know what I'm saying? Get with the program. Try and make it better, not worse. But yeah, that's the kind of thing where, too much mouthing off, all that stuff that's been going on, they need to be arrested and tried too. That's treason, man. Fall in line. Get with that man, make this country better, or at least wait on him to come out of office, then mouth your opinion, and then make it better. You do something different. You can do so much better than him. You come in and be president. But man, get in line for real. It's disrespectful, like for real. You're a useless citizen. Benjamin Franklin, gotta love what he says. Got a few of them from him too. It says, "They that can give up essential liberty. Bugs, don't start. It says they. I'm gonna kick your butt now, and you ain't gonna have no liberty. It says they that give up, they that can give up essential, essential meaning it is essential to be free. They that can give up essential liberty to obtain a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety and will lose both. Benjamin Franklin. Now that sounds what I say. Sometimes the truth comes out in a real cold, harsh kind of way. That's what it sounds like. It's the cold, hard truth here. So he's not trying to be mean to you, but he's telling you that those that can give up essential liberty, just a little bit of what you need to be free, if you can give up a little bit of that in order to have a little bit of safety in your house, in your home, say what you want to say, whatever, you deserve neither. It says you deserve neither freedom and liberty nor safety, and you'll lose both. And that's the truth. And that's what happened. We started slowly but surely as Christians giving away this, giving away that. And soon you have no rights, right? Soon you have no rights as Christians. None. You can't go outside publicly and pray. Can't go in school and pray. Can't hold your hand over your heart and do the Pledge of Allegiance no more. Ten Commandments is out of the courthouse where they want you to swear on the Bible, to swear the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God, but they don't even believe in God. You know, the Ten Commandments ain't even in the courthouse no more. So who's lying? What's the propaganda going on? I'm telling you, that's what Benjamin Franklin said. If you're willing to give up a little bit of temporary safety, you know what I'm saying, a little bit of liberty for a little bit of temporary safety, you deserve neither. Not liberty, not freedom, not safety. You'll lose both. And that's what's happened. So now we're losing both our Christianity, our values to exercise our rights as Christians. You're losing your freedom because they are coming in and taking guns, right? They're trying to take people's guns from them and everything. You're losing it all. Your freedom of speech, your liberty and everything. And because we let our government do it. I'm telling you, it's time to wake up, people, for real. That's what Benjamin Franklin said. Samuel Adams, I didn't really know that he was a part of the Declaration of Independence and all that, you know, the Founding Fathers kind of thing. I remember him more from the beer commercials. You know, everybody was always talking about Sam Adams. That's a joke, y'all. I knew that he was back then in the Declaration. I'm just saying, but I do recognize him more from the beer commercials. And I'm wondering if that's the same Sam Adams. But anyway, Samuel Adams says, if you love wealth, oh my God, these rappers and entertainers today, this applies directly to them. It says, if ye love wealth better than liberty, better than your freedom, if ye love wealth better than liberty, the tranquility of servitude, than the animated contest of freedom, go from us in peace. He's not mad at him. He's saying, go from us in peace. We ask not your counsel. So we don't need no advice from you. We don't need your counsel. We don't need your arms. You know, we don't need your guns and your arms. It says, crouch down and lick the hands which have fed you. May your chains sit lightly, so not heavy. May they sit lightly upon you, and may posterity forget that you were our countrymen. So he's saying, even in loving kindness, even though you're a traitor and a snake and you belong to the devil, he's saying, man, I'm not going to cast you away with no hatred, man. I'm casting you away with love. Let me read it again. Samuel Adams. If you love wealth better than liberty, the tranquility of servitude than the animated contest of freedom, go from us in peace, in peace. We ask not your counsels or arms. Crouch down and lick the hands which feed you. May your chains sit lightly upon you, and may posterity forget that you were our countrymen. May we forget that you were our countrymen. Amen. For real. But if you love your wealth, if you love your your personal items more than you love your freedom, your liberty, if you love the tranquility, the peace that comes from serving others, servitude, if you like that more than the animated contest, meaning the animosity, the contest that goes for fighting for freedom, if you love all that more than that, he's saying, go from us in peace. Go ahead and get away from us, because that's not what we're about. You know what I'm saying? He says, we ask not your counsel, so we don't need your advice. Even if you're a really smart man, even if you're one of the smartest men in the room, we don't need your counsel. And we don't need your arms. We don't need you to stand up and fight for us. So back then, they didn't need your guns. They didn't need your weapons. You know, thank God. Unlike today, they're trying to take your arms from you. He said, we don't need your counsel or your arms. He said, crouch down, lick the hands which feed you, which are the same people that are fighting and struggling for your freedom. So lick their hands. That's what he's saying. Lick the hands of the men that are fighting to give you life. You know what I'm saying? Lick the hands which feed you. It says, may your chains sit on you lightly. So not like slaves in big heavy ball and iron chains. He was saying, I hope your misery, you enslaving yourself is light. You know, I hope it's not a heavy burden to you. You know what I'm saying? May your chains sit lightly upon you, and may posterity forget that you were our countrymen. So may it not look like you're so slovenly and so low to the ground, you know, wallowing in dog shit. May it not look like that, you know, so that we can forget yourself. But you're not one of us. You're not our countrymen. That's what I get from that. I love that, for real. And I stand with him on that, especially the other part too about people not being being useless citizens and stuff, man. For real, if you think certain ways, man, you don't need to be in this country. Got one more page and we're done. I'm moving quickly. Let's see. Albert Einstein had a great one too. He was never a politician, but I like this one. It says, the world is a dangerous place to live, not because of the people who are evil, but because of the people who don't do anything about it. Is that not something? I'll read another one here in a second. I'm going to skip over a few and read one that goes absolutely with it, because it's amazing though, man. Like I'm telling you, he's telling you the world is not a dangerous place to live in because of evil people. We're not worried about them. You know, we know God protects us. God has won the battle, right? So we ain't got to worry about evil people. You know what I'm saying? It's because of the people that don't do anything about evil. That's the problem. That's what makes the world an evil place. So that's what Albert Einstein says. The world is a dangerous place to live, not because of the people who are evil, but because of the people who don't do anything about it. For real. That's sad. That's Albert Einstein that said that. Now, the next one goes right with it. Martin Luther King Jr., what does he got to say about evil? He says to ignore evil is to become an accomplice to it. God, ain't that something? So because you didn't do the evil act yourself, you saw somebody else do it, but you didn't report it, didn't call the news, you just let it go, went to bed, went to sleep. Guess what? You're an accomplice to that, right? You know what I'm saying? You didn't do anything to stop it. You didn't do anything to help anybody, to rescue anybody. So to ignore it, it don't make it go away. To ignore evil is to become an accomplice to it. Again, senators, congressmen, all that. They know these people that's doing that dirt, and if they're right there with them, but they're not going to vote against them or make sure that the vote that's evil doesn't go down the drain. What'd you do? You became an accomplice to it. You bought into it. Yeah, you took them dollars too. For the federal, I could never remember who said it. Here it says Edmund Burke said that. But I wholeheartedly believe that. Some people aren't necessarily evil, but if you know anything about it, guess what? You didn't have too much of a problem with it then, huh? So, what they say about being an accomplice to it? You're just as evil then, right? In my mind, in my opinion. Let me know what your thoughts are about this now. Like I said, people can leave comments. Like the video. You should like this one. If you don't like any others, subscribe. Hit the like button. Hit the thumbs down button if you don't like it. Either way, at least I know how you feel, right? But I'm telling you, the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do absolutely nothing. That's what Edmund Burke said. And that's why our country, again, is on the decline, because people don't want to do anything about it. Oh, Mr. George Mason here says, George Mason says, I ask, sir, what is the militia? He says, it is the whole people. So the whole country. It's the whole country. To disarm the people is the best way, the most effectual way to enslave them. What was Bush Jr. and them doing? What was Obama trying to do at the end of his term and all through his presidential term? Trying to disarm you, right? Change the Constitution, change Congress, start collecting people's arms, taking their guns from them. Why would that be? Well, I'm understanding now what they're saying is that's the best way to enslave you, right? If you can't fight back, you can't shoot back, you can't do anything about it, guess what? It's easy to enslave these people. Common sense to me, makes sense. So George Mason is asking you. He said, I ask, sir, what is the militia? Someone answers, or he answers, it says it is the whole people. So every citizen, man, woman, child in the United States of America. You don't like the way the government's doing you. You don't like them mowing you over and taking your rights and your guns and your possessions. Guess what? You are the militia. I mean, if anybody sees this video, actually ever watches this video, and you're a part of a militia and can somehow give me some information as to how I could join, am I allowed to join, what would I need to do to join, I'm telling you, you got the man right here, and I'm with you 100%. Shoot, I consider myself a patriot through and through for this country. I'll die for this country. I would die for those that I love in this country. I ain't even got to know some people in this country. I'll die for a stranger in this country. I'll die for my Lord Jesus Christ. You better believe that. I'll give my life for him. So the time is here. Anyway, George Mason, again, I'll read it one last time. He says, I ask, sir, what is the militia? Someone says, or he says, it is the whole people, the whole people. To disarm the people is the best way, most effectual way to enslave them. So obviously he did not want the country or his citizens, his brothers and sisters, without guns and the right to bear arms. That's why that's our amendment, our constitutional right to bear arms. Not just the military or the government. You too, each and every man, woman, child, and citizen. And it didn't say if you had a felony, you couldn't have a firearm or a gun. That came later, you know. So it was another way for them to minimize the people that have guns. My phone is dying, so I'm going to try and rush on through this and get this video done. All right, Alexander Hamilton, another founding father, right? He says, the best we can hope for concerning the people at large, talking about all the citizens of the United States. Check this one out, because I love this one. The best we can hope for concerning the people at large is that they be properly armed. That's what Alexander Hamilton said. Man, I'm working on a tax time too. Police, anybody sees this, man, well, let's go get this guy right here. He talking about he going to buy him some guns. Hey, you do what you want, you come get them. But you can best believe, Lord willing, I get any kind of money coming to me in the next few months. I'm telling you, I'm getting me some protection. It ain't for nobody to get out here and do nothing stupid and rob and gang bang and none of that crazy shit, because I don't do none of that anymore. I'm a child of God. I'm a son of God. I'm living for God, and I'm living for my countrymen today. That's my best effort each and every day when I wake up. That's what I'm trying to do, is live for God. But best believe that I'm not going to be running around unarmed while y'all trying to enslave people and kill people that are unarmed and that kind of thing. I'm not going for that. Like I said, I'm a true patriot. I'm not having that. You're not taking my freedoms or my liberties or my rights. So yes, I plan to properly arm myself. But yes, it's the best we can hope for concerning the people at large is that they be properly armed. So citizens of America, I'm telling you something. If you ain't got no charges, if you're legal and able to go get a gun permit, go do it. Please, I'm begging you, man. It ain't to start nothing. It's for protection. It's better to have it and not need it than to fucking need it and not have it. That's a great saying too. I've heard that a million times. You better think about it for real. You thinking it's best to just turn over all these guns and everything else and give them up, man, for peace. That's cool. Jesus was all about peace. We also see that he was crucified for us too, right? Falsely accused, took to the cross and crucified. You want to be like that, go ahead. Because it may end up happening anyway where you're going to have to die for Jesus Christ for he'll give your life for him. So, but I'm just saying I don't want to give my life to a satanic person when I can give my life trying to save a Christian from a satanic. You see what I'm saying? Come on, man, get real. Arm yourselves. Or give them up. And here's another good one. It says, guard with jealous attention, like the same way your children fight over attention from mom, dad, and everything. Come on now, let's keep it real. Y'all got to stay with me, because I'm live with this. It says, guard with jealous attention the public liberty, the liberties of the public. Guard with jealous attention the public liberty. It says, suspect everyone who approaches that jewel. Unfortunately, nothing will preserve it but downright force. Whenever you give up that force, you are inevitably ruined. And that was written by Patrick Henry, I believe. That's the only name I see close to it. So I believe that was Patrick Henry that wrote that. I'll read it one more time fast again. But again, I'm telling you, you got to pay attention to some of the stuff I'm reading. It says, guard with jealous attention the public liberty. So the liberty and freedoms of the public. It says, suspect everyone who approaches that jewel. That's what we do, right? Anybody running for office or Congress or senators or governors, whatever, we research them really well, right? We even if we think we know them really well, we consider them suspect until we know what they say they want to do for us, right? And then they end up lying and don't doing it anyway, right? So he makes sense with that. Patrick Henry saying everyone's suspect. Hell, I'm suspect. You watching my video, I'm suspect till you done met me in person. You find out what I'm really about, right? He says, guard with jealous attention the public liberty. Suspect everyone who approaches that jewel. Because liberty and freedom is a jewel. It's not free, it's a jewel. Unfortunately, nothing, he says too, nothing, not some things. He says nothing will preserve it but downright force. What's that mean? Again, sometimes you got to fight for freedom and liberty, correct? Okay, so the only thing that's going to preserve it is downright force. Whenever you give that up, whenever you give up that force, the militia or the right to fight for your freedom, he says, you are inevitably ruined. Well, we know that's true. Look what happened with segregation. All right. So, and then he's got another one, Patrick Henry, I believe here. He says, this is all the inheritance I give to my dear family. The religion of Christ will give them one which will make them rich indeed. Ain't that something? I'm not real sure who he was, Patrick Henry, to be honest with you. Founding father, someone who wrote the Declaration of Independence, whatever. Doesn't matter. Both of those were real wise quotes and saying, he said. And what makes it even better about him is he's not saying like the Vanderbilts, I'm leaving my family all these riches and cars and wealth. What did he say he was leaving them? He's leaving them an inheritance, basically the Bible and his teachings about the Bible. His teachings on how to be a better man, a stand-up man, to preserve the freedoms and liberty of other people, to bear arms and fight for your liberty and your freedom, to put God first in your life and in all that you do. Sounds like a great thing to me, right? He says that's the inheritance he left his family. Nothing else. I mean, he says, this is all the inheritance I give to my dear family. The religion of Christ. So it wasn't his religion, it was the religion of Christ, what he was taught, what he knows in his heart to be true. The religion of Christ will give them one which will make them rich indeed. And knowing Christ does make you rich indeed, for real. So it helps you in everyday life. This country was founded by God-fearing, freedom-loving patriots. I can already see the stage being set for Christians being labeled as terrorists by the Satanists who have hijacked our nation. I don't really know who wrote that. I just know that was in the video that I'm asking you guys to watch. And I believe that to be very true. We know that most of the people that are running this country, senators, congressmen, mayors, whatever, presidents, vice presidents, they're not men of God. They're not Christians. You know, it was founded by God-fearing, freedom-loving patriots, but those are not the same men that are running this country anymore. And we can already see everywhere the stage that's being set for people that believe in God, that talk about God, Christians, men of God. We can see how they're being labeled as terrorists and how they will be hunted down just like Muslims or jihad terrorists, that kind of thing. Christians will be too. Even in the Bible, it says that they'll be hunted down and killed for, basically being, radicals, terrorists, that kind of thing, because not the majority of people are Christians anymore. So know that as Christians, we're facing that time, day, and age where you will be persecuted and prosecuted. God said it. Revelation says it. Fisher of men. Go to that guy's page. That's the guy where I got the video. U.S. militia declares war on Illuminati, New World Order 2019. That's the name of the video. All right, last few little quotes. I think I have two more. It says, there exists in this country a plot. Oh, this is by John F. Kennedy again. Remember, I kept telling you, man, greatest president we possibly could have had or hoped for. I wasn't alive at the time, so just watch the video. You already know what I said earlier about that. But here we got another very wise, very relevant thing that's going on today that he said back then and again was assassinated for. Now, what did John F. Kennedy say word for word? I'll read it to you. He says, there exists in this country, that's what he said before he became president. He said, there exists in this country a plot to enslave every man, woman, and child. Before I leave this high and noble office, this plot. John F. Kennedy. And I bet he would have had too if he wouldn't have been killed. And guess what? He was killed, assassinated. Conspiracy theory, no matter what you want to believe or say about that, it does not matter. The point is, the man said before he even became president, or as soon as he became president, either way, during his presidency, he said, I don't think that there's something going on in this country. That ain't what I read. He says, there exists. So as a fact, there exists in this country a plot to enslave every man, woman, and child. Not some of us, all of us, every man, woman, and child. He didn't say the black women and children. He said every man, woman, and child. That means white, brown, Asian, Hispanic, in between. It don't make no difference. Take your own opinion on that one. Every man, woman, and child. He said there exists in this country a plot to enslave every man, woman, and child. Before I leave this high and noble office, and he was a very high and noble man, I intend to expose this plot, and they killed him for it. They said, we won't have that, buddy. If you're not with the Federal Reserve, you're not all about this money, this wealth, and praising Lucifer and putting it above everything in your own family, you can't be in here, buddy. You ain't one of us. So they killed him. Makes proper sense that that's what the devil that he would be about. The Luciferian and these evil people, that's what they would be about. Yeah, he be dead. So God rest your soul, John Kennedy. I mean, no disrespect. God rest you. And that's why I believe his son's still alive, JFK Jr., which is why they executed, Bush Jr.'s daddy. Why they executed McCain. Come on, people, stay with my videos, man. Get on there and look at some of these channels I'm telling you to look at. The information's there. So don't take everything I'm saying for what it is. Don't hate me for saying it. Go to these other people, commentate on their stuff, and let them know that they lying and that they got me messed up or something. Which they don't, because I know they're telling the truth. But I'm just saying, do your own homework, your own research. For real. I mean, we need to wake up and stop laying down, let people roll you over, let the government do and say what they want to do.
We're gonna have to come together. Everybody.
I'm telling you, amen. I watched the video the other day with Michael Jackson, and it was a beautiful video. It was the "We Are the World" video. Y'all go back and check that out. Anybody that's it's even looked at this page or looked at this video, whatever, go back and look it out, man. It'll cause a tear to come to your eye. If it don't, I don't even know if you're human. You could be roboted or clone. But I'm telling you, the video again, it shows a time in the 80s or the 90s. Think about it, how wonderful that was. It was a time when everybody came together. They made that "We Are the World" video. I'm talking about, man, they had I'm thinking it was Travis Tritt on there. When I say everybody, it was everybody, man. Everybody came together for that, man. They had everybody. Michael Jackson, Tina Turner, Cyndi Lauper was in the video. I swear I seen Clint Black or George Strait or one of them, in the video, Garth Brooks or something. That's my point, is black, white, Hispanic, Asian, don't matter. Everybody came together in that video. Everybody in that video and in that song was on the same message. And at that time, it was the most beautiful thing that we possibly could have hoped for. What they talking about? We are the world. We are the children. You know what I'm saying? It's us to make it a better place. And then now we're in the 20th century, and all of that has what? Went out the window? We do not care about it no more. We ain't no children no more. We ain't coming together no more. I want to kill everybody. Blacks kill blacks. Blacks, y'all kill the whites because they racist and keep you down. The whites kill the blacks because that's what we've done from the beginning. That kind of shit. That's what's being promoted, Black Lives Matter propaganda. And yet we got black men out here killing each other and broadcasting it on YouTube every day, threatening another nigga. I'm coming to kill you because you a blood talking about you claiming this, and that's the wrong set. In California, we don't claim that crap. Y'all do that in Chicago. Come through here, you got to check in. Come to Atlanta, you got to check in. You ain't no real blood. You know, I mean, it's nonstop, man. Blacks killing blacks. When that nonsense gonna stop, man? And some of y'all gang members, I'm talking to y'all. I know y'all will never probably see this video or this page. I wish you would. Y'all need to grow up. Grow up and grow a sack. Be a man. Stand and fight your own battles. Quit thinking you need cats to speak for you about what you think. And you know what I'm saying? If you ain't got a mouth and you ain't got balls and can't say something yourself and stand up for yourself, yeah, you may not need to be in this country. Like I said, everything from the Star, David and everything in this country has been turned upside down, misused, you know what I'm saying? And you know, it's crap, man. It's crap. God didn't make us for that, man. For real. So it needs to stop. But last part I'm going to read here says, no one will enter, and this is the most important one since I'm closing out my video with this. You better listen real closely. It says no one, not some or not some people won't. It says no one. So no one individual. No one will enter the NWO, or I'll just go ahead and break it down. No one, she will make a pledge to worship Lucifer. It says no one will take a Luciferian initiation. Who said that? David Spangler. That's what it says. It has him written down saying it anyway. So I hope if he didn't say it, that someone's using his name, because that's a horrible thing to say. But it says David Spangler, the director of Planetary Initiative for the United Nations, wrote down this quote and this rule for anyone that plans to enter the new age of the New World Order. It says no one will enter the New World Order unless he or she will make a pledge to worship Lucifer. It says no one will enter the new age unless he or she will take a Luciferian initiation. So to close out this video, what does that basically say? And again, that was the director of the Planetary Initiative for the United States. He's basically saying that anybody that works with the United Nations, anybody that works with NATO, if you've been a president in the last 15 years, 20 years, if you was a congressman, a senator, a mayor, whatever, if you were somehow getting money from the Federal Reserve, if you were getting money for being a senator, congressman, mayor, governor, president, vice president, if you're any of these guys high up there in power, on the TV stations, news hosts, radio hosts, whatever, you're making a ridiculous amount of money. If you have anything to do, damn it, my phone died. They can play the music in the back. Oh yeah, we're back live. We got the little music in the back. Cam jamming out to her music. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? Never plugged up the phone to charge. If you don't like, thumbs down. It don't matter to me. I'd rather people be honest anyway. You know the truth hurts. If you like it, put the thumbs up. Feel free to leave a comment if you want. Off here because we get ready to cook dinner, but I love y'all in the name of Jesus Christ. God bless you all, and I wish you all comfort, peace, prosperity, blessings in your life. If you're American citizens, even if you're not, it doesn't matter. Open your eyes, wake up, pay attention. We know they lie on the local news, so there's some subscription channels on YouTube, great channels that you can watch and get the truth from about what's going on in the world, about our political leaders, what they're trying to do to us. But anyway, I'm rushing right now, so God bless y'all. I'm gonna get off of here and eat and everything, but I wish y'all the best. I hope that I gain some more subscribers. Not for my own fame or none of that, a pat on the back like I said earlier, but for the glory of God, so that we can all share information. This is an informational site. We can all get on here, pray together if there's prayer requests, that kind of thing. We can all learn from each other and support each other and just be better members of society and better, brothers and sisters in this world, period, together, regardless of your religious belief, regardless of your race or creed or whatever. So I mean that wholeheartedly, you know what I'm saying? Regardless of your belief, your religion, whatever, I love you. God bless y'all. Y'all have a great evening. Please stay tuned, and there'll be more to come. But anyway, yeah, check out hit subscribe, hit like, and check out some other pages that I check out if you want to. RT America's a great one. World News 7 is another great one. Fisher of Men, that's a great one. There's a lot of gospel channels on YouTube. Pastor Paul Beagley, Begley. So there's a shout out on a few. I'm looking for people to join me and network, but we'll get that done here soon enough. Like I said, I'm new to the whole live YouTube's thing, so it's a work in progress, but we're gonna get there. God bless y'all.